Hi everybody, it's me, Jordan Long here, and today I want to talk about a thing called why they call it school tax. Now, some people now everybody knows that school districts basically take a payment out for their service for educating people, and they call it school tax. But I disagree with it being called school tax. It shouldn't be called school tax. It should be called a school payment, because most of the local school districts are independent. Of course, they do get funding from federal, state, county, and local governments for educational purposes, and they do follow the educational laws that are set by the federal, state, county, and local governments, but they're usually independent. Now, for some reason, people think that that's just what it's called, but, And Jordan said people usually ask the question, what happens if one is found guilty of school payment evasion? Well, I think the process is about the same. I think they do an investigation, try to find the person is guilty, try to get them in the court to see if they got evidence of guilt of invasion, probably put lien on property to get money that may come from, that might, go to pay the school payment. Really, I don't know. But, see, that's what me and my friend Jane Chan talked about one day. They really should, Jane, it shouldn't be called a school tax. It should be called a school payment, because usually school districts are usually independent of local government. I mean, there might be some school districts that are divisions, but most of them are usually independent these days. I don't know, that's just what they call it, That's just what they call it, but I agree it should be called a school payment, because when you think of tax, you think of government, you don't think of school. Yeah. Jordan, do you have Jordan, do you have the agreement to take out for school payment for the people who work for you? Yeah, I do. I have the agreement, Jordan said, for school district payment takeout for people who work for me. But some places agree and some places don't. But the video is really about why is it called school tax. I mean, I can imagine in the beginning when school districts first started, they were all part of local government. Most of them were. Actually, school departments actually were a part of local government. But over the years, most local governments and school districts voted to be independent, because some school districts some local governments may have understood the funding part. They may have understood the educational laws, but they may have not understood how to run the school themselves. And some do. For example, Pittsburgh Public Schools is still a division or department of the Pittsburgh's local government, and it is not independent. So there, it technically is school tax. But in other places where the local government and the school district are two separate entities, I refer to as a school payment. The other thing that is a practice, that is, let's say you own property, okay? Or let's say, well, sometimes the county sometimes your property tax can be disputed by a third party. Yeah, I know, Jordan said, I don't own property. I rent the house, so I don't own the property. But school districts sometimes in certain places disagree with the local and county government when it comes to how much they think that your property, how much they think the local income tax is worth, or how much they think that the property tax is worth. And that's usually a bad practice. A third party can't come in and claim that you should be paying more or paying less. I mean, if you're already paying amount. And then usually the sad practice of it is, Jordan said, some people find themselves going to court. Some people actually find themselves having an argument between the school district and the county government. Sometimes the local government And sometimes the county and the local government stand their ground and say, that's how much the property is worth, that's how much the local income tax is worth, don't be trying to pressure us into raising it more. Because sometimes there is pressure, sometimes there's bullying involved. And we do know that school is very important. And school districts get a portion of funding from federal, state, county, and local government. Now, some people say that the funding has to do with the number of students and if it's public or private. But regardless of that, Jordan said, if you're in a private sector, then you're not eligible for school payments. You can't get money from you can't have school payments. Yes, you are eligible for funding, but that's about it. School districts are eligible. They can actually do school payments if they want to. And Jordan said that this is another thing goes like this. Well, since I don't own the property, Jordan says, I don't have to worry about property tax. But the landlord that owns the property, Jordan said, I always thought it was a stupid practice to have some third party come in and put pressure on the local and county government and say, well, you should be paying more on local income tax, or you should be paying more on property tax. Yeah, school districts can be a creep sometimes, but they argue that they're providing a public service for education, educating people. So they'll try to argue the more money they get, the more money they can use for supplies and hiring people to handle the educational thing. Yeah, and before I end this video, Jordan said, I think schools are good. You know, school is very important, so is education. And I'm not criticizing school districts for how they practice education. I am sometimes criticizing them for them calling their school payment school tax when it should be called a school payment, and sometimes criticizing them for their practicing of trying to force local and county governments, sometimes even state and federal governments, into raising money without telling you about it. Because, yeah, it is your income tax that pays for that stuff, regardless if it's third party or not. And I do think that they should not try to do that. And yes, you can go in the court and you can dispute them on it. You can dispute what you can dispute it. You know, sometimes local and county and state and federal governments tell them that's how much they're getting and they stop complaining. Sometimes they actually cave in and say, fine, your opinion wins.
Love you.
I love you. Well, I'm going along and I'll see you later.